Hey, how's it going? On today's video, I'm going to show how we take the factory LinkPin Volkswagen trailing arms and we extend them for a mid-travel setup. The way we do it, this handy dandy jig that I had built, this jig that I built 6-7 years ago. On this jig, it's pretty straightforward. You cut the trailing arm in half. It's worth a try. And then you stick one piece, one end, right in here, those two machine bushings. And then you stick the other end right here.
That's what she said.
We have two different lengths that we can build. This setup, I'm only going to be building the 2.5 inch longer, but we can also build the 4 inch longer. I don't know exactly how these VW trailing arms were made. I assume they were cast and then machined. I don't know if they annealed them or what they did to make them, take them back to a tempered state, but for whatever reason they weld pretty good, probably. And if you're thinking that they don't hold up, well, this is probably set number like 15 or 16 just in the Samco buggy group that we've done, and it works out really good. It'll work till it don't. These are for a friend of mine. We're going to be installing it with the torsion bars. The 2.5 inch over, you can still run the factory springs. Just sometimes you might need a little bit of a helper coil or something, or a little bit stiffer gas shock on there. So check it out. piss ton of welding that has to get done. But after grinding and a little bit of paint, they don't look too bad. Obviously, I'm not done. I've got 3 more to make. The bottoms are a little bit more work because we leave the shock mount there. It makes it easier for mounting shocks. You can lop that off and make your own shock mounts, but you know, German engineers designed it. We can't screw up what the engineers did too much, allegedly. The one difference too, when you do the tops, the width is shorter by about 200 thou on the tops. So we just put a little spacer there when we make the tops on the jig. And that's for the Arkham angle, because the theoretical point of your spindle as it travels down, yeah. If you ever rebuild your LinkPin kingpins, you'll notice they're not straight up and down, they're at an angle. Use my jig to build these custom trailing arms. You can buy them, but what's the fun in that when you can build it yourself? Anything that we can build ourselves, we're gonna do it. You start buying too much stuff, and that's just what razor people do, so, and you don't want to be a razor person, right? Hope you enjoyed this. If you thought this was cool, like, share, subscribe, share this with your buddies that have buggies. Maybe they'll want to build their own set of trailing arms. Till next time, thanks for watching. I forgot this point. On the factory torsion bar, you can get about 10 to 11 inches of travel. Factory setup, I think it's only about 7, so it doesn't seem like much getting that extra 4 inches, but it's quite a bit. The 4-inch longer, you can get, I think you can get 16 inches of travel if you round up, you know, a ½ inch. A few of my buddies think you can only get 14, but what do they know? I'm smarter than them, maybe. Actually, I'm not. They're very smart people. As I'm spinning this around on my hand and getting grease all over it, I'm sure I won't track that in the house a little bit. And my wife won't even be remotely pissed at me. I've got 2 kids. I can blame them.